Hey, 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 good people. Welcome to another 2 for Tuesday Grief and Motivation Talk with me, Kanisha. I am so glad that you are here with me. So, today we are going to talk about you need a support system and take baby steps. All right. So before we get started in today's talk, I want to go over a couple of announcements with you guys. So if you are following me and you're enjoying the information that I share as regards to how to navigate through the grief journey, what that process looks like, different tips and steps on how to get through, I want you to join my mailing list. I am going to start taking a lot of this information that I share off of social media and onto my dedicated list. So I am committed to sending weekly tips and motivations on this grief journey. So click the link in my bio and you can tap that very first button where you can sign up for my mailing list. If you are watching this on YouTube, my website will be below and you can visit KanishaNachelle.com and you can sign up for the mailing list there. Also, on October the 7th, I am doing a masterclass called Grief Unlocked. And during this masterclass, we're going to talk about why the first year of loss is the toughest. I'm going to share with you some 5C principles on the different phases of grief, and then how we can move you from feeling the pain to finding your purpose of it all. It's going to be a completely free masterclass, Grief Unlocked, on Wednesday, October the 7th. That is also available in the link in my bio. So if you click that button and sign up, you'll be able to register and to come on in. If you know anyone who may be going through a season of grief right now, they've lost a loved one due to COVID, or just lost a loved one in general and still just trying to navigate the grief season, then share this with them. My aim and my goal is to definitely help as many people as I can by sharing my life testimony of how I was able to come through my grief season from the loss of my parents. And so I am committed to doing the purpose work of God, of sharing my life as a testimony, all the ugliness, all the messiness, all the frustration that comes with grief, and still having to navigate this thing called life in the absence of my parents. So I'm going to be doing more, and I want you to be on board. So yeah, click the link in my bio to get all the good information as to what is happening now. So as we shift into today's inspiration moment, as you know, I always pull from my prayers and healing book. And today is September the 22nd, and this is what today's inspiration reads. It says, "We can take a lesson from the precious water lily. For no matter what outside force or pressure is put upon the lily, it always rises back to the water surface again to feel the nurturing sunlight upon its leaves and its petals. We must be like the lily, steadfast and true in the face of every difficulty, that we too may rise above our problems and feel God light upon our faces again." Wow. This just spoke to me when I was reading it, and I pray that it spoke to you as well. If you've ever seen those big old lily pads, this is what they're talking about, the water lilies. The frogs tend to hop on those lily pads. That's what we think about. These are the lily pads that they're referring to. And so they tend to float on the top of the water surface. They don't usually sink to the bottom, but they're just always on the top, floating on the top. And what this passage is telling us is that just like the water lilies, if it's a rainstorm, a hurricane, if there's just turbulence in the water, you drop something in the water and the lilies sink to the bottom. What this passage is telling us is that no matter what comes against this lily, it always seems to rise itself back up to the top. And we want to shape ourselves and our lives to be just like the water lily. That no matter what comes our way, no matter what adversity strikes, what problems come, what situations, death, loss of job, sickness, anything that comes our way, we want to be steadfast, just like that water lily, that we may go under the water, right? We may feel like our situation is over our heads and we can't quite see our way through, but slowly but surely we begin to rise back up to the top. And so we want to be just like that lily, that no matter what happens, we know we have a God that is shining its light. He's shining his light on us, and that we just have to continue to press our way back up to the top surface, and he's going to shine his light on us. So if you're just now clicking on this and you are just now hearing this, I want to read today's passage to you because it's really good as we're in the midst of this COVID season and a lot of uncertainty, and we don't know, day from night and what's going to happen next. We want to shape our lives and shape ourselves to be like this water lily that's in this passage. So I'm going to read it one more time. It says, we can take a lesson from the precious water lily. For no matter what outside force or pressure is put upon the lily, it always rises back to the top of the water surface again to feel the nurturing sunlight upon its leaves and petals. We must be like the lily, steadfast and true in the face of every difficulty, that we too may rise above our problems and feel God's light upon our faces again. So that's today's inspirational moment. Just remind yourselves that we are to be just like the water lily, that no matter what comes our way, that we will continue to rise to. All right. So moving in today's 2 for Tuesday, we are going to talk about you need a support system. Guys, I'm so sorry. I'm getting a phone call here. Sorry, guys. I was getting a phone call and kept cutting me off. Okay. So 2 for Tuesday, we're going to talk about you need a support system and taking baby steps. All right. So step number 1, you need a support system. It is imperative that while you're on this grief journey, that you have at least one person. I would prefer, a good handful of people, but you need at least one person in your corner that is going to be your support as you navigate this thing called grief. Okay. Grief is rocky. It is not easy. There's good days. There's bad days. There's days where you just don't feel anything. There's times when you're numb. There's times when you're actually okay. You're able to function. And then there will be moments where there'll be a trigger and you completely fall apart. I want you to have one person in your corner that you can always talk to and be completely open and honest about the things that you're feeling and about how all of this is messy, is playing with your mind. I say this because I don't ever want you to be in a situation where, you haven't talked to anyone, no one has checked on you, and then something happens, right? If you have at least that one person that is your support system, that they know if they go more than 24 hours or 48 hours from hearing from you, that they are going to pick up the phone and call. And if you don't answer, then they will either come by your house, or maybe they're not in the same city with you, but they will call somebody that is in the city with you and go and check on you. You want to make sure that you have one person in your life to be that support system. And there are times during this grief journey where you want to be isolated and you want to be alone. I'm like that. I'm an only child, so I'm comfortable with being by myself, right? But while you're going through this season, even though you need space and you want to have time to just, block out the noise, block out people, and process what you're thinking and feeling, it is important to have at least one person who knows exactly what you're doing and how you plan to navigate yourself while you're going through. My person was my cousin / sister. Like I said, I'm an only child, but I have a cousin who I'm very close with, to the point that we call each other sisters. And no matter what I was feeling or going through, she always knew everything that I was dealing with. Even to the point to where she started hearing me say certain things about not wanting to live, and I wish I would die, and why am I still breathing? When she would hear different words and things like that, she didn't just ignore it. She took action, and she was a part of my team that helped get me some intervention because I was having suicidal thoughts because of my grief. And so I'm telling you that you need to have at least one person that can be able to, actively hear the things that you're saying and then decipher, is this just a moment where they're just venting? Is this a moment where they just want to be alone? Or is this a moment where they could truly hurt themselves? And I don't want you to ever be in that situation. And so that's why it's so important that you have a support system, a friend, a relative. It could even be your spouse, if you're married. Any of those things, you want to make sure that you have somebody in your life that can hold your hand and to help walk with you as you navigate this grief journey. I don't ever want you to be by yourself. I don't ever want you to think that you're alone. But I do know that you have at least one trusted friend, if not more, that you can say, hey, when I say these kind of things, just check on me. Or if you haven't heard from me, give me a call. Because there are times where we just want to be by ourselves. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with wanting to process your thoughts and feelings by yourself. But you do need to have somebody in your corner that knows that, hey, I haven't heard from them in a couple of days. Let me check on them and make sure that they're okay. Because we never want anything to happen to you because of this, okay? I see a couple of people dropping in, so I'm going to put a message in here. Again, if you are just joining me, my name is Kenesha Nichelle, and I host 2 for Tuesday Grief and Motivation Talk, where I give 2 points of how to navigate grief and everyday life. All right? Just wanted to put this in here because I see people showing up and want to make sure they know what we're talking about. But yes, my name is Kenesha Nichelle, and I do 2 for Tuesday Grief and Motivation Talk every Tuesday, where I give you 2 tips on how to navigate the grief and loss journey as well as everyday life. So point number 1 for today was you need a support system, and 2 is take baby steps, okay? There is nothing wrong with taking your time. There is no reason why you have to rush the process. In fact, when you rush the process and don't truly embrace every part of the process, you are positioning yourself to have to repeat it, okay? So in the stages of grief, we go through our moments of anger and frustration. We go through asking questions. We go through the depression. We go through all of the questioning, why did this have to happen? God, why did you do this? I wasn't ready. I didn't say everything that I wanted to say. We go through all of these different moments during the grief journey. And I just want you to know that you have to take it one step at a time. All right. I definitely don't want you to rush the process, because seriously, if you rush it, you are subject to having to repeat that lesson again. And so don't feel like, somebody tells you, well, I've gotten through my season and it took me a year. My season took 13 years. Okay. I honestly think that my season took longer simply because I was younger. And I wasn't mature enough in my mind to be able to process everything. But I certainly believe that, 1 year, 5 years, 8 years, 13 years, even 20 years, somebody may, 20 years. It's been 21 years since I lost my dad, So nobody can tell you how long it's supposed to take, how quickly it should go. Every stage has its phase. But I want to make sure that you have the right coping skills, that you have the right tools to help you as you continue to move forward one day at a time. And honestly, it's not necessarily a switch that will occur to say, oh, I'm through it. Oh, I made it. That moment doesn't happen. You wake up one day almost and it's like, okay, I'm actually okay. It could be their passing anniversary day and, you're not a ball of tears like you used to be. It could be a holiday and you're not as angry as you used to be because they're not here. It could be their birthday, and rather than being in mourning, you're ready to celebrate them. You want to release balloons and actually do something to honor them rather than being mourning. That's kind of how the process happens. It's a slow but steady process that over time, your heart begins to heal, and those thoughts of anger and frustration, all begin to leave, and eventually you reach the point to where, you know what, I'm okay. I am at peace. I accept that my loved one is no longer here and present. And so I just want you to be encouraged that you just take this one day at a time. I say it often, if you're in the thick of it, if your loved one just recently passed, and by recently I mean like under 3 months, you're in the thick of it. And it's really hard to process your days, and it's difficult to, get up out of the bed, take a shower, do work. If you're able to get up and you weren't the day before, that's a win. That's a baby step that you have to celebrate, all right? If you left the house, you went to go visit a check-in on a loved one, if you were able to do that, that's another win. If you were able to get through the day without tears, that's a win. And we have to celebrate those baby steps, because those baby steps will eventually add up to feeling better again, okay? So I just want you to be encouraged that there is no rush. There is no reason why you have to say, it's been 9 months. Why do I still feel like this? It's been 2 years. Why do I still feel like this? There's no timetable. We cannot adequately say that by year 5, we're going to be completely through it. It's not true. It's not going to happen. It's just one day at a time. By you being an active participant in your healing, by going to therapy, by showing up for free webinars and downloading ebooks and taking classes and journaling and art therapy and doing all of the different things, all of that together certainly will help you come through. Okay, so that's my 2 points that I have for you today. I want you to make sure that you have a strong and active support system. You need good people in your life to hold your hand and to walk with you as you journey through. And then 2, take baby steps. There's no rush to this process. I don't want you to think that you have to rush what you're going through. And this is for everyday life too. Whatever goals and dreams that we may have, we don't want to rush it. We want to take baby steps. We want to actively be working towards the things that we want and our heart's desires. But we gotta take it slow, take it one step at a time, and know that we will make it through. All right. So that's what I have for you today. If you are joining me from the very end, I want to tell you thank you for joining me for another 2 for Tuesday Grief and Motivation Talk. I am Kenesha Nichelle. And the 2 announcements that I have for you is, if you would like to get more information on tips, weekly tips on how to navigate grief and motivation to stay the course through your grief journey, click the link in my bio and sign up for my mailing list. Or you can visit my website at KeneshaNichelle.com and sign up there. Also, on Wednesday, October the 7th, I am doing a free masterclass on Grief Unlocked. Grief Unlocked, we will discover why the first year of grief is the toughest. We're going to talk about my 5C principles to navigating the different phases of grief. And I'm going to show you how you can move from feeling the pain to finding the purpose. All right. So that's all I have for you. Thank you once again for joining me. I look forward to seeing you next Tuesday right here, same time, same place. If you have any questions or you need some support, feel free to reach out at any time. Otherwise, I hope that you have a phenomenal week. Be gentle to yourself and make sure to take care of yourself. Have a good one. Bye-bye.